Sometimes when we sit back in our business and really analyze something, even something as small as a LinkedIn post, we can learn so much about our audience and so much about our business. So that's what I'm talking about today. 3 things I actually found out about my audience and my business via one single LinkedIn post. Join me. Let's have this discussion. I'm sure that it will bring you some little pieces of gold. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, my gorgeous listener. Welcome to episode 73 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I sincerely appreciate you making the Small Business Made Simple podcast one of them. If you're a first-time listener, then hey, super welcome to you. I'm so happy to have you land here on this podcast. I am the host, Jen Donovan, and it's my job via this podcast, my social media, and just about everywhere else that I hang out to make your business life simpler. Because I know business can be lonely, it can be hard, it can be complicated, and let's face it, it's rarely ever easy, but it should be simple, or at least simpler. So that is, of course, my commitment to you on the Small Business Made Simple podcast. One way that I can help make your life a little bit simpler is if you come and join my like-minded business owners group on Facebook. It's a place where you get to hang out with other people just like you who run small businesses. If you haven't joined in the fun already, then head to Facebook, search like-minded business owners, or of course head to the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/73. One thing that I love to do inside my business, and pretty much in my life, if I'm honest, is analyze things. People, things, thoughts, ideas. I just love listening and observing and analyzing, and not in a bad, creepy way, but in a always learning way. I'm the first to admit that I'm actually a lifelong learner. I'm always reading or really listening to a good book, mostly business related, sometimes not, otherwise I'm listening to a podcast or reading articles or blogs, etc. I just really love learning new things and testing and measuring new things. So now I've kind of set the scene of being a lifelong learner. I wanted to share with you 3 things that I've actually learned from a single LinkedIn post that I did not so long ago. I'm sharing this with you not because there's lessons of what I learned, but hopefully lessons for the both of us and what we can both learn by sitting back and analyzing things that we do inside our business. Some are eye-rolling. Yes, I've heard you say this before, Jen. But I'm going to tell you anyway, because as the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I know this from experience, from hearing the same thing over and over and over again, but finally hearing it for what appears to be the first time with that particular mindset. And a lot of the time that has been a huge game changer for me. So even though some of the things that I say you might have heard before, maybe this time you'll hear it slightly differently. So I know I've gone off track just a little bit. So 3 things I've learned on a single LinkedIn post, but maybe I should first of all tell you a little bit about the post that I did. So it was by far my most popular recent post. It's not my best ever, or really even a pinch on my best ever, but it has been my best in COVID-19. And it was a post that had over 3,000 views, over 50 comments, and many more likes and reactions to it. I did this post kind of on a whim. I wasn't really thinking too much about it when I put it up there. I just thought, oh, this is a really great question. And maybe, I was looking at it from maybe I might get some potential guests on the podcast because of the responses they give to this question might be like, I need you to come and help my audience, aka you, to make their life a little bit simpler on my podcast. So I guess I better tell you what the post actually said. So the post read, if someone were to interview you, what topic would it be about? So that was the question I put in. I did a little Canva, thing with that question on it. If someone were to interview you, what topic would it be about? So this is what I learnt from that one single post with all that reach and all those comments. The first thing I learnt was people's favourite subject is themselves. Now, this is not actually meant to be a derogatory thing. In fact, it's just reality. Ask people what they do and they will tell you. Ask people what they're good at and they will tell you. People's favourite subject is themselves. So what's the lesson? I guess the lesson that I got out of this, if you're short on engagement or content, think about how you can ask a question to engage people by asking them something about themselves. Everyone's favourite subject is themselves. So if you're short on engagement in your social media or in your content, think about how you can get people to talk about themselves in an abundance way, in something that will help other people if they read it. Interesting concept to look at how you can get more content on your social media, but still, it worked. People's favourite subject is themselves. The second thing that I learned is that some people actually don't know the answer to that. Some people who commented did not know what they wanted to be interviewed about. Now, this is a professional platform. This is LinkedIn, and therefore it's about business doing business with other businesses. But some people didn't know what their elevator pitch was. So an elevator pitch, just in case you're not quite sure what that term means, is being able to tell someone what you do and why you do it and who you do it for in the time taken to ride in an elevator. That's the theory behind it. It's a very scientific timeline, of course. But that's the idea of an elevator pitch. And it's totally fine that people don't know their elevator pitch. I really get that. I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm actually looking at it from a content perspective for my business, that perhaps I need to put some more content out there to help people articulate what they actually would be interviewed on, what their elevator pitch is. From a marketing point of view, maybe that's something missing in the market. Maybe people don't know what they're good at or who they're doing it for or why they're doing it. So with my marketing hat on, maybe that's content for the future there, right there for me. So if you couldn't answer that question, if you couldn't answer the question of what would your interview topic be, or maybe you have 100 answers to that question of what would your topic be, then perhaps your USP or your unique selling proposition is something that you do need to work on. Episode 4, yep, that long ago, because what are we at? Episode 73. Episode 4 was all about knowing and owning your expertise. It's worth a listen, even though it was some time ago, and it's got this great little exercise to do about learning how to articulate your unique selling proposition. It's like a little exercise in the podcast. So I would recommend that if you're having trouble with your elevator pitch, then maybe to head to episode 4 and have a listen to owning and knowing your expertise. You can just scroll back to episode 4, or of course go to social media and marketing.com.au/4. All right, the third and final thing that I learned from my single Instagram post was that LinkedIn is still my favorite and best platform. If you've been following along on my journey, you'll know that I'm putting in a really big effort with Pinterest this year. It's the platform that I really want to conquer in 2020. Well, actually, not me. That's a lie. I'm actually paying the wonderful Kate Wilkinson to conquer Pinterest for me. So Pinterest is that platform that I really wanted to see what results I could get from it this year. And I've also been trying really hard to turn up more on Instagram stories and in the Instagram feed. And I have to admit, hand on heart, it's a battle. It's not my favorite platform, but I really am powering through, and Instagram is definitely building and giving me leads and some amazing connections as well. But I put up this same post on Instagram stories and didn't get near the result I did with LinkedIn. And of course, there's lots of factors that would contribute to that. Timing, how I set it up on Instagram stories, my market or my audience in Instagram stories. Of course, I get all that. But the fact is that my posts did better on LinkedIn, and my posts consistently do better on LinkedIn. So it's kind of reinforcing that result that clearly my people are hanging out on LinkedIn. So although I won't stop putting my energy into any other platforms, like that would just be really silly, but they are really all are serving a different purpose and helping me reach different goals within my business. So this post just reinforced what's best for my business when it comes to the goal of building connections and building my expertise, and having social serve, its purpose within my business and within my business goals in my business. And just a little side note on that, of the 50 odd people who commented, 60% of them were already my connections. That means I got 40% of people who weren't my connections. So I had a really great opportunity to reach out with them, to connect with them, to start a really unique conversation with them around their answer, which of course I wouldn't have got the opportunity to do if they didn't comment on my post. So that was kind of like a real win-win for me. New connections, new conversations, goodness knows where relationships like that will take me. So that was another little win that I got from this one single post. So my questions to you after my 3 little discoveries is, do you know your elevator pitch? Do you know what you would love to be interviewed about? And of all the people who do what you do, why should someone choose you? Why should they choose you to spend their money with? It's that one of those really big questions at the end of the day. And again, I would take you back to episode 4, working out and knowing your expertise. The second question that I have is, what social media platform is best for your business? Do you need to do a social media audit of, which social media platforms should you be on and which ones are performing best for you? And the third question is, do your social media platforms actually help you reach the goals that you have set for them? Do you have goals around your social media presence? Do you have goals for the different platforms that you are on? And if not, why not? Why haven't you got goals that are sitting around the social media platforms? Gone are the days where business owners can be on Instagram just because it's the fluffy and new and the best. If you're going to be on a platform, you've got to have a goal around it. You've got to know why you're on that platform. So, do you have some goals set around each of your platforms? If you don't, then that is something that you could work on perhaps this week and think about, why are you on the platforms that you are on? All right, guys, it was a really short and sharp episode today, and hopefully there was some really great gold in there for you. There was certainly some there for me when I took time to analyse just this single post, something I thought was really worth sharing with you. But of course, that is all for episode 73. I will be back next Thursday for another great episode to help you simplify your business in 2020. I hope that you will take something away from this episode and perhaps strategically think about your socials, or strategically think about what you're putting on what platform and how they are actually going on site within those platforms. Not posting for posting's sake, but actually stepping back and analysing what's actually happening on your socials, and is that helping you grow your business and helping you reach any business goals that you actually have. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Again, I know I already said that. Sorry. to have listened to here, you must be enjoying it just a little bit. So I really hope that you will subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already, and maybe share with another superstar business owner who's doing this daily grind and would really appreciate you making their life a little bit simpler by sharing this particular podcast. Leaving a rating and a review is next level. I would love for you to do that. It really helps, just other people to find my podcast, as well as gives me the warm and fuzzies, knowing that the content that I'm putting out week after week after week is really helping you simplify your business. Massive love coming your way if you take time to leave me a rating and a review. I will, of course, be back next Thursday with episode 74. But in the meantime, let's hang out on social, maybe on LinkedIn or even Instagram at Small Business Made Simple, or of course my Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. But whatever you do this week, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Say it proud, be true.